Dear participants, good morning and welcome to LATRAPS Investor Webinar. We will begin with a presentation from the company, followed by a live Q&A session. Throughout the call, we will be looking forward to receiving your questions. Please submit them in writing through the Q&A window below the presentation. For your convenience, the webinar is being recorded and replay will be available shortly after the call. Now, let me introduce today's host, Gundars Ruža, Member of the Board and CFO of LATRAPS. The floor is yours.
Good morning. Let's start with a legal disclaimer. This presentation is prepared by LATRAPS, but information is not fully audited since we are still in the audit process, and it's not therefore independently verified. The presentation itself is not considered as a legal, financial, or tax advice, and investors should consider this as a supplement to the report what you have received last week. Today we will go through the three major parts. One will be about LATRAPS business model, achievements, and financial results. And the key highlights of last year, we consider our financial year for the period of the 1st July 2024 up to the 30 June 2025. So we reached financial results as expected. There is no any major deviations from our targets and the budgets. So results are slightly better as a year ago. So basically, as a grain market of 20% or EBIT of 7.3 million, it should be considered as a good targets. But as a cooperative, we have to remember that cooperative target is not maximize a profit, but critical and major factor is to support farmers or owners with the sources what they need for their own business. So shortly about a business model. So we are a major partner for farmers, and farmer is always in our focus. And clearly our critical success factor is to supply farmer with raw materials and help them to sell the grain, which also is we can say majority of our income source. But on a supplement, clearly a farmer need extra services, which is quite visible. Clearly they need transport or logistics, and they need also pre-processing plants where they can dry their basically grains and also keep it in storage for the time when they are ready to sell it. Plus, we are also supplying them fuel trading, machinery, and service, repair, and spare parts. And also we have several production facilities, starting from the rapeseed oil production, malt production, and as you know, we will come back in respect of the pea protein factory. Plus, we also supply different financial products, starting from the hedging on a stock exchange, selling the grains, crop insurance, and post-payment services for the farmers. The whole process, what I described, is exactly as it was 1 year ago, and there is no any major change. From locations point of view, we are in the same location as it was 1 year ago. We have 8 pre-processing locations in Latvia. We have also 20 plus more outsourced pre-processing locations. What we use that farmers are, if they are willing to use it, they can, if it's closer to their business location. We are using 3 different ports. We have also production facility in Staigine, Latmalt, which is dealing with the malt production, and Jelgava Asens ingredient facility. And from the group structure, LATRAPS is pretty simple and transparent. We have three subsidiaries. Latmalt, 100% owned subsidiary, which generate around 7,000 tons of malt a year for breweries and other basically production facilities, food production facilities. Then we have Assens Ingredient, where we are keeping 51.4% shareholding, and the rest is owned by our co-partner Pfeffer and Langer, which is one of the biggest sugar companies producing all over Europe. And the third legal entity is Assens Investment, who was in owning part of our previously owned 50% plus one port cargo terminal, which has been sold shortly after end of 2024-2025 year end. And there is, I would call it a good solution, since we wanted to develop a separate channel, cargo terminal channel, based on the market conditions. Clearly, when you have a daughter company and you are competing with a daughter company, it's not a good long-term solution. So we are every year tendering cargo terminal facility services. So we had a chance to exit, selling back to our minor shareholders. So we sold it, and there is no any negative impact on LATRAP's financial results due to this transaction. Achievements. Clearly, as a cooperative, we are all the year focusing on farmer support, and one of the critical success factors is grain pre-processing plants around our customers, farmers. So in 2024-25, we have developed extra storage capacity in Madona, around 9,000 tons. Total investment was close to 1 million. And that was also one of, let's call it, critical Vidzeme storage capacities, what we have been missing. In general, in Latvia, there is a lack of storage capacities. And as a cooperative, we see that from the long-term success stories, to mix the appropriate quality groups and to storage in appropriate format. This is our long-term way how we want to develop our cooperative, make it more efficient, increase storage capacities, and to sell it not in a harvest period, but after that, when we see that in general market is ready to pay more. Clearly, due to simple reasons, if market in Europe missing storage capacities, selling from the field is always cheaper. This is well known to you. Clearly, we are very thankful for the listing the bonds on the 12th of December 24. We have successfully not only ended the process, we have also launched and promised everything what we agreed for our more than 300 investors, paying out interest as agreed, and we believe that our communication and promises will be kept until bonds are repaid in full. And clearly, one of our critical long-term success stories is launching Assens Ingredient factory construction. We have started almost half year ago, and process is running. Our main target is to get all buildings under the roof until the end of 2025. So construction process is, I would call it almost in the middle. all the technology agreements are signed. All critical infrastructure agreements are also signed. All agreements also with the banks and financial institutions are also signed, and we have started not only collecting shareholder investment, which is completed, but also financing operations through the financial institutions. So far, there is no any major delays. Maybe we can discuss about a couple months back and forth, but clearly in such kind of 120 million investment, this should be considered as reasonable. So still, plant is expected to start operations in early 2027. So that's as agreed. Financial highlights. We are running the business clearly not based on the revenues, but on the adjusted EBITDA, because you have to remember that selling the crop, it's not selling clearly. Every ton of crop has their own price, but we are selling through the commodity stock exchange price. So as a LATRAPS, we are not taking commodity price fluctuations. We are selling based on the formulas, which is MATIF plus formula, and formula includes our profit. So farmer is taking a risk of commodity price fluctuations. So when you see the fluctuation in general, this doesn't leave impact on LATRAPS results. So we are happy to present that adjusted EBIT is close to the previous year, and also profits. And clearly the asset value is almost the same, but I see that in a current picture there is small mistake. Total assets have not increased up to 200, but it stayed on 121. On income statements, I don't have anything to add. It's pretty stable and pretty straightforward. There is some critical aspects on increase on different cost levels, but due to the personal cost increase, clearly we have to stay in the market. On revenue and EBITDA side, we see that revenue is in fact stayed pretty stable. It's on average slight increase, but as we see on a wheat MATIF price, which has been on average 1 year ago around 228. Now it's on average been slightly lower. So we sold it for some 5% more grains. So that's basically allowed to compensate price revenue price increase. And clearly, EBITDA interest coverage ratio is critical for us reporting also for our financial institutions. And as we see, we are pretty stable also comparing with the previous years. There is no any major deviation. On net profit, as I mentioned, very high stability due to the profit. Of course, clearly we raise our equity ratio, and every year after our shareholder meeting, we agreed to pay out around 20% of profit in dividends. So far, clearly there is no decision, but we expect that the process will be similar to the previous year. In respect of debt coverage, again, extremely stable situation. We don't see any major deviations. As of year end, we have been financing our farmers on pretty the same levels. We expect that there is no any impact in respect of debt coverage. Clearly, we see that this year, which is not, if you are looking from the farmer's perspective, they consider current year starting from 1st of July. Due to the weather conditions, it's pretty, let's call it, unstable looking on the farmer's cash flow. But we don't see that this would leave a significant impact on LATRAPS. And in respect of the bond investors, we have made two promises. Equity ratio should stay above 20% and interest coverage ratio should be at least 2 times. So we are pretty far above both covenants. So we feel confident that there is no any issues with that. And what is important to mention, LATRAPS this year celebrates 20 years anniversary. We have started extensive webinar format educational program for Latvian farmers, seeing that there is pretty high also price deviations in the stock market in respect of the commodity products, and we created different digital content both on current issues and overcoming challenges. We also organize Latvian grain conference for farmers, bringing their knowledge and also their willingness to lower their risks and also become a little bit more predictable in their performance. Clearly, weather conditions are not allowing them to be 100% predictable, but we believe they are on the right way, just to be a patient. So now it's time for questions. Thank you for attention.
Thank you for the presentation. Indeed, we're now opening the floor for a Q&A session. Participants, to join the discussion, please type your question in the Q&A box that you see below the presentation. Meanwhile, we will start with the first 2 questions that were submitted prior to the call. Can you elaborate on the expected return on investment and strategic impact of the Asens ingredient plant on LATRAPS? Are there any risks or delays currently affecting the construction timeline or budget?
Thank you. Asens is a critical investment for LATRAPS in the last at least 5 years. We believe that staying in a commodity market as a trader, clearly we see that there is a limited growth potential in Latvia. And for cooperative and for owners, we have to enter businesses which brings higher profitability. So I am not in position now to disclose exact figure, but if you look on a LATRAPS performance, Asens investment clearly would bring a higher return on investment, and this is a future way how we cooperative expect to develop our investment portfolio. We don't expect any delays in respect of Asens factory startup. As mentioned before, starting point is the beginning of 2027.
Thank you. You mentioned rising operational and labor costs as the key challenges. What specific measures is LATRAP implementing to improve profitability margins in the face of the rising costs? Are there operational efficiencies or pricing strategies being considered to mitigate these pressures?
Yes, this topic, of course, is a hot topic for everyone, especially when you are in trading. You understand that in general, our profit margins are limited since the competition is not just about Latvia, but we are dealing with global markets. And in respect of the raise of salaries, clearly there will be always a pressure how you can compensate. As I mentioned, clearly there is one way how to run. It's digitalization. We have invested, I would say, close to several 100,000 euros in different IT solutions, which would bring better, let's call it, communication channels with our farmers. Clearly, for us, next step is to continue to develop different applications and web solutions, how the farmers can run their business without maybe everyday clear contact with our customer service centers. There is a process what has to be continued, and we will do clearly more digitalization solutions, but there is no, let's call it, one-time winning strategy. It's a never-ending process, but for LATRAPS, we believe we have an extremely loyal and good customer base, and it's just in respect of the farmers, it's just patient what we expect that they will wait until all the solutions will be ready. But so far we are working very well with that.
Thank you. We'll now be taking online questions. Could you provide more detail on your revenue projections for the coming year? Specifically, do you anticipate a decline in revenue due to current challenges in the agricultural sector, such as weaker harvests or lower crop quality?
Last week, Latvian Statistical Committee published forecasted harvest volumes, and what we see that they are even a little bit higher than 1 year ago. So what we see ourselves is that from the collected as of today tons, they are, I would say, pretty close or even a little bit slightly better than it was 1 year ago. So from the volumes point of view, we believe that there is no any dramatical change, but clearly the quality of the harvest is one of the critical success factors for farmers. And second, of course, the price deviations in the global markets. As I mentioned, LATRAPS is not taking the price deviation risks on the global markets. So we are working, let's call it, on commissions. So from our point of view, we believe that for LATRAPS, there is no direct dramatical effect, but if the farmer's cash flow is suffering for not, let's call it, making a maximized profits, or in some cases maybe not making a positive result, clearly there is some long-term impact, but it's not so, let's call it, dramatical. But clearly farmers are struggling, and that's also the reason why Latvian government announced extraordinary cases in respect of the current situation.
Thank you. All questions have been addressed. That concludes our Q&A session and also today's webinar. Participants, thank you for joining us today, and we'll be looking forward to meeting you next time.
Thank you.